use my hand to carry your picture inside your daughter. You think that's on you? No, because I'm your lost boss.
Hi, so in this video, I will be reviewing the series To Kill a Monkey, which you can watch on Netflix. So this is one interesting movie. So it's follows the life of this man, Ife, who is down on his luck. His wife is pregnant, she's at the hospital, she's about to give birth. They're expecting triplets. He needs money to pay for her section. His mother is late. He needs money to sort out, all that burial preparations. He doesn't have a good job. Like, things are just a mess. Like, his life is just a wreck. So from one crisis to another, he links up with an old schoolmate who is Oboz. Oboz is of course wealthy, living the good life, and he wants to bring Efe into that world of his, but Efe is Mr. Goody Two Shoes. He's too good to, do what Oboz does. So he rejects his offer in the first place. Now going back to his life, going back to the reality he has known, it just seems like things are just getting worse and worse. He becomes fed up, frustrated, and desperate. So he agrees to the offer Oboz gave him earlier. So in so doing, he becomes wealthy. His luck changes. 4 years later, he's living in a very big house. He's doing well for himself. His kids are well taken care of. His wife is wearing luxurious clothes, luxurious hair, like everything about his life just changes 360. So this series is written, directed, and produced by the wonderful, talented Kemi Adetiba, and you can watch it on Netflix. So now I'll be talking about the acting and performances in this movie. So we have the character Efe, who is played by William Benson. This man embodied this character so well. He is of course familiar because you must have seen him in a couple of movies, but in this movie he stands out. There's no way you watch this movie and the character Effie won't stick with you. So in this movie, he is the one who, should I say, the story is centered around. He is poor. Life has been hard. He has just dealt with a lot of hardships in his life, and you are just like, when push comes to shove, he needed to do what he has to do to provide for his family. He really did embody the character of a man who has been through hell and back. Like, there was nothing going right for him in his place of work. He was always getting scolded by his supervisor. In his home, his mother-in-law is always making life unbearable for him. He had his wife had just given birth. They lost one of the babies because of the was malnourished. So it's like one thing or the other. The daughter who was staying with one of their family members was almost molested by an uncle. So he's just like trying to get a better job, and the guy is of course very brilliant. He is a first class student. He thought that after school he'll get a good job, provide and care for his family, to be able to do what his father couldn't do for him. So that was like what his dreams were, but he gets dealt the harsh reality of life in Nigeria, that although he is a first class, he's one of the brightest in his school, but look at him struggling to survive and trying to provide and cater for his home despite it all. So it just shows reality, the rawness, and the grit of a man. You could see he was also struggling because he was a good guy, he was a decent guy. He didn't want to get into anything shady just because he was poor. Like, he believed that he could make ends meet with being on a good path. Nothing was looking up for him. It was like he was hoping and praying that, oh, things will eventually align for him, but it wasn't. So he just had to venture into the life of the crime, cybercrime, and using his knowledge in a bad way, and try and get himself and his family out of the current situation they were in. It was so brilliant watching this guy on screen. So without a doubt, William Benson really, really delivered on the character Efe. Like, getting to see him when he was poor, broken, desperate, getting to see him, rich, sophisticated, and all of that was just a beautiful transition. And he really did justice to his character. Then next, you have the character Oboz, who is played by Bucci Franklin, like the Nollywood gangster, the Nigerian movie villain. Like he killed this role. He gave us a 10 over 10, abi 100 over 100 performance in this movie, honestly. So unlike the character Efe, Oboz is more, should I say, arrogant, very loud, very obnoxious, very crazy. He's more streetwise. He's all about himself, and he is not as smart. Like he didn't finish school like Efe did. So his view on life or his approach to life is quite different from Efe. So he is the friend Efe meets, and he is, should I say, this kingpin of this cyber crime, thing. So he has two business fronts. So he has the one on the outside, which is like a logistic company that he uses as a front for his actual business, like which is his Yahoo Yahoo thing. So what he has is like he gets boys, has like different should I they call it cells. They have different cells all over the place where they groom boys to cheat people of money online. So that is Yahoo Yahoo, cyber crime and everything. So aside that, there's also this thing with him that he feels he can get what he wants. He has all the money in the world. Nobody can talk to him. Nobody can challenge him. So his character is just very, very, very annoying. Like he's so annoying, but you would enjoy, watching him. He's one annoying guy in this movie that you can't help but just want him to be in the movie. I don't know how to explain it, but he's annoying to the point that you sort of root for him despite his crazy character. He calls Efe brotherly, like he treats Efe like his brother, or so he says. Because when they were in school, Efe was one that saved him from a near death experience because of how crazy he is. So he got himself involved in something that almost, took his life. So if he was the only person that was there to help him, and since he reconnected with Efe, he sort of felt like he owed his life to Efe. So he was trying to lend a helping hand to Efe. Now, it's just so crazy that in a strange way, Oboz had this bond, this friendship, this brotherhood with Efe, just that the character Oboz is somebody that he feels like he's above everybody. Like he can get what he wants, and he can get away with anything basically. And one thing about it, I feel like I don't know how to explain it, but in a weird, twisted way, he cared for Efe. You get, but despite all he did, he was always ready to apologize, and he wanted Efe. Like despite all the boys he had around him, there was just this bond, this connection between him and Ife. But Bucci Franklin is an exceptional actor. Like he brought the character Oboz to life, even the way he spoke, the way he carried himself, like his facial cues. Like you would think like this guy is actually one proper Bini gangster. Do you understand? Like he really did so well in this movie. Then we have another character who is the character Mo. So Mo Muturayo, who is also called Inspector Ogunlesi, who is played by Bimbo Akintola. Like I was so happy to see her in this movie. Her own story is that she is this inspector that works at this cyber crime commission. So of course they handle every criminal activities that happens online basically. She got promoted, life was good. Then her husband and kids get involved in an accident which takes their life, so she is alone. So she has to deal with the loss, and in so doing she had to take a break from work because she was seeing things, hearing voices, and she couldn't decipher what is real and what is not. So the only thing she wanted to do, or the only thing she could do, was her job. She was so good at her job, and she, comes back, I think, a couple of years after, taking a break from work to sort out her mental health. She comes back and, she dives straight into this whole case, this monkey case. And it's just so brilliant that Bimbo Akintola is the one that, was the detective in this case, because I really, 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 really enjoyed her acting in this movie. Like the rawness, her character was so intense. I just like, why do bad things happen to good people? Because like no explanation whatsoever. Like she just spoke to her husband a couple of minutes, and on the next thing she has to come and identify their bodies. It's just so crazy how life can happen to anybody, like regardless of who you are, or where you are. Basically, on one hand, if he was dealing with his own hardship. Another hand, this woman that had, money, she had everything going for her, just had it taken away from her at the snap of a finger. Another character would be the character Nusa, who is played by Stella Damascus. Like, oh my goodness, I was so happy to see her in this movie. So character Nusa happens to be Ife's wife. Now, initially, when the series first started, and when they were still in their humble beginnings, and they were both poor and everything, she was a very, supportive, loving, understanding wife. Like, despite all her mother kept saying about her husband, despite all the insults and everything her mother kept throwing at the husband, she was always ready to, support, cover him, and she was like, don't worry, things will get better. God will help us. She was that type of wife till money entered the equation, and we just get a completely different Nusa. But it was just so wonderful to see Stella Damascus in this movie. It was so refreshing to see. She brought this, soft elegance. Her character would of course get on your nerves. Just be ready. Her character will upset you a couple of times in the movie. Especially the statement she made about I even liked you when you were poor. I'm like, but babe, I don't really know why her character had a drinking problem. Like, why was that necessary? Like, okay, her husband wasn't as present as he used to be, or I don't even know what their issue was. Because okay, they have money, so does that mean she needs to get a vice, or she can't hold her liquor? I don't know why they needed to make her character someone with drinking problems. Like, she would drink and forget herself. I don't know why they did that to her character, but she did good in her role. You get to see the character Amanda Sparkles, who is played by Sunshine Roseman. This babe, like when she came, the way she came into play in this movie was very, very suspicious. Because I just called it, like I knew she had something to do with teacher. I just knew she had something to do with teacher. Because what are the odds? What are the odds? So yes, so she happens to become Efe's side chick later on in the movie. So she is this gorgeous, let's say she's a celebrity or something online on this their face gram face app. And also she has a sharp mouth on her. She's very, very, very good at what she does. She knows how to get what she wants. And she's very confidence. She exudes this, feminine energy, this confidence. She talks her talk. She doesn't fear anybody. She says it as it is. She's cutthroat, blunt, and you get to see what she does later on Shine in the movie. But like her character was so so brilliant. Like it was so nice to see how she looks so sweet and so innocent, but what she can do is crazy. Like the power this lady had in this movie was something else. Then we also get to see the character teacher, who is played by Chidi Mokeme. I don't think anybody else could have played teacher perfectly than this guy, because when you even get to see him, there's this energy, this fearful energy are just around you. Like you can't even make eye contact with him. He just gives this vibe of somebody that should be feared, like a top dog. Like he his own thing was with the boys. He felt like they owed him commission. Like he was there before them, and they have to pay their dues, sort of. So he wanted 30% of what they were doing, um, coming to him basically. So he was that kind of gangster villain. We also get to see Ivie. Ivie is played by Teniola Aladesa. This girl, Ivie was just something else in this movie. So Ivie happens to be Ife's daughter. So Ife had a daughter before he met Nusa. So Ivie is that child. So now life is good, money is there. And I don't know why, out of all the people Ivie could like, he fell in love with Oboz and even got pregnant for him. And that was just crazy. But her character was just something else, because I'm like, the dad did everything he did for his family. So she should be able to aspire for big things. And like money is not an issue now. So you can go to school, get a career, start a business. Like her priorities were shifted, and it was just so upsetting to see how strong the hold Oboz had on this girl was. Like she lost all her home training, she lost all her senses when it came to Oboz. Do you understand? And even going as far as betraying her father and saying all the things she said in court. And Evie needs to be dealt with. Like Then we also get to see the character Inspector Onome, who is played by Michael Edgel. Like I called it. I just knew this guy had to be the dirty cop. Like there's always one dirty police officer amongst the pack. And even the way he was just chummy, 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 body with Mo was just suspicious. Okay, he of course works with Mo, and Mo is trying to track down the guys behind this monkey case. And she has this feeling, she has this lead, she has this conviction that she's on the right path. So the only person at her place of work that's a bit friendly towards her and she could talk to at the office. So she opens up to him about the case. They are brainstorming ideas just to find out at the end that this guy is actually one of the bad guys. She's in cahoots with the criminals. Crazy. We get to see Idia. So she is the wife of Oboz. So Idia is played by Lilian Afegbai. This girl in this movie, her performance was really something it stood out for me because I know she can act, but in this movie she brought this energy. Like, I don't know how to explain it, but she brought this feisty, sassy. She was the wife of the kingpin. Of course, she knew what her husband was about and she knew everything that was going on. So she was like the queen in his kingdom, sort of. So she really did embody that character. You would just enjoy, watching her alongside her husband, and also watching that this girl too has her own gangster. She has a gangster in her, sort of, especially the part where they tried to kill her and how she defended herself. Then we also get to see the character Dr. Nwaizi, who is played by Enado. Like, I was so happy to see her. Like, she happens to be Mo's doctor, her therapist, because of all the PTSD she's dealing with. Like, I enjoyed seeing her because I'm a fan. I also get to see Dr. Ifeanyi, who is played by Daniel Etim. So he happens to be the doctor at the hospital, who becomes Nusa's side guy later on. Because I'm like, okay, why would they just put Daniel Etim in just this hospital scene? Like, what was more to his character? Then we also get to see that, there's body romance between him and Ife's wife, which was expected, of course. Like, Ife was doing his own thing, so of course the wife would be somewhere doing her own thing. You also get to see some of Oboz boys. I don't know, I can't remember their name. There's this guy in particular that was, should I say, was his right hand guy, but when Ife came into the picture, he was sort of pushed to the back. You could tell there was jealousy, but the guy was right. He was spot on in his intuition in regards to Ife. Like, Ife would betray Oboz and all of that. But the guy did his thing. Then some other faces we get to see in the movie. We get to see Mimi Chaka, who played teacher's daughter. Like, I was so happy to see her. Although we didn't get to see a lot of her, but she was in the movie. We also get to see Michelle Oluwafemi, that cute girl. Like, I was just so happy. She is teacher's grandchild, the one who was involved in the explosion. How can I forget? Because we also get to see the character Babalola, who is played by Ireti Udoy. So she's the superintendent at the Cyber Crime Commission, who happens to be Mo's boss. So there was this, should I say, push and pull in the relationship between Mo and Babalola. Ireti Udoy fits so perfectly in that movie. And although we didn't get to see a lot from her, but when she was there, you would feel her presence. Like, when her scenes come on, the little scenes we get to see her in, she killed it. So I think that is it for all the actors in the movie, and for performances, 10/10. Like, Kemi Adetiba, she brought out like an amazing lineup of actors for each individual character. All the actors fit so perfectly into them. Like, everybody brought their best foot forward. Everybody did justice to their role. So it is like amazing lineup of actors, amazing acting. Some themes you can pick up on in this movie would of course be the theme of betrayal, which is like number one. So now the question is, who betrayed who? Like, whose betrayal trumps the other person's betrayal? Because when it comes to brotherly Efe and Oboz was a lot. Like, we can all attest to the fact that Oboz did a lot. He was crazy. He was always in your face. Then comes Ife's character. Like, I think the out of everything that Oboz did, the one that really broke Amel's back was, him sleeping with Ife's daughter, Ivy. Like, I think that was the height of it. Like, it's just crazy. And it was just how he felt like, I've done it, I can get away with it, and all of that was just upsetting. Then comes, Ife's betrayal in the movie. Like, I don't know, but like, What's your take? Who would you say betrayed who? Like, okay, are we just going to excuse Oboz? Because and that's how Oboz is now. You know, he talks anyhow, he's reckless, he's a brute, you know, he this is who he is. So if you shouldn't expect anything less from him. But there's a point a person would you take so much rubbish that they just feel like there's nothing else they can do but snap. Like you poke and poke and poke at somebody till you know you get a reaction, and I felt like that was what Oboz did with Efe. And of course, the thing of loyalty, like the number one thing, of course, would be survival. Because everything Efe did was more or less like a quest to survive in a world where he felt like the odds were stacked against him. Because he finished school, no job. Even the one he got as a cleaner, be a waiter at this bar, the pay was I think 42,000. Abi, how much was his pay? Even at that, he was living in debt because he was owing at his place of work and trying to get a loan sort of from them. He had to sleep with his boss, and you know, even doing that, the money got stolen, and you know, a lot of crazy things were just happening in his life. He was trying to survive, hence him, you know, moving to the dark side and doing what he needed to do to survive. But is that an excuse, though? To do something wrong, like would you say is a good enough reason for him or an excuse for him to do what he did? With that being said, just following off from that, there's also this thing of this moral compromise. Because on one end, you have a say that if he sort of is okay with you know, this Yahoo thing that they are doing, you know, stealing money from international companies and corporations and all of that, he felt like he wasn't necessarily bringing harm to anybody, and he just felt like he was taking money from people that had money. So you know he's not really doing anything wrong. Do you understand? And also the thing of you know when he first got into it and the wife was like that, you know, this is not us, like we shouldn't be doing this, and he made a statement of we will just do this till we have enough, obviously we are good enough to, then he would leave, sort of like he. So it was like, okay, how? When do you know you've had enough? When do you know like what you have is enough for you to step out? He got into the life of crime, so he would have enough to provide for his family, and they can start up a business, and you know, be able to stand on their 2 feet. So they had 4 years into, they had have mansions, have a house, have you know a company, life is good, things are good. So why then did he not leave? It just shows how we humans can be. Like we will not be satisfied no matter what you say. You just keep going and going and going. Some of the things I did not like in the movie, of course, would for one be the opening scene of the movie. Okay, when it first opened up with the whole ritual setting and whatnot, um I expected that, okay, since these guys are working for this person, for the Monkey King or whatever he is called, if they would speak up against, like try and expose or whatever they did, that they would die. I didn't like the fact that they gave us that scene without much context to it, because it didn't seem to have a lot of weight. The ritual or the whatever it is that they did not really hold water. Because I'm like, okay, if this guy is being questioned by these detectives, and you know he opens up, and was that whole process not supposed to be like, should I say, like a blood covenant of some sort, that people that are into it cannot expose, cannot tell the outsiders about, you know, what they got into? I don't know. Like that was so when they did that, I felt like that this thing is really, really deep. But getting to see this guy in interrogation room and he's spilling his guts out was just like, oh, okay, maybe it's not that deep for them. It's just a thing that they do. Do you understand? Maybe there's no real meaning to it, sort of. Um and I also thought that, okay, maybe this guy that is drinking people's blood will not be able to die or something like that. I don't know, but it was, I don't know, Sha, I'm just overthinking maybe because of watching too much Kanayo ritual films. I just thought that maybe there would be more meaning to that whole ritual process in the beginning part of the movie. I really enjoyed this movie. I enjoyed the acting, I enjoyed the storyline. I enjoyed the, should I say, the music or the sound design in this movie, because it's really set the tone, like for each scene. Also, like it was so upsetting because I'm like, things did not need to go this far. Like blood did not need to have been shared. Like, you know, friendship bonds did not need to break and all of that. Because if Oboz and if he had come together and say, okay, let's get rid of this, teacher guy, because somebody eventually did it. Like somebody did it, because teacher was of course trying to form Jagaban and move mad and do his thing. But somebody of course killed him. So I'm like, okay, why did these guys not think to do that? Like, of course, Oboz was going about it, but he wasn't going about it the right way. Because that one just acts irrationally. He doesn't think, he just acts, he just goes on impulse. He's very erratic. So I'm like, okay, if these two guys came together and join hands together, this one comes with his brains, this one comes with his streets, haha, and they meet in the middle and they orchestrate one grand scheme to get rid of this um threats. They would have easily done that. See, the thing about it is that these two guys are different sides of a coin. This one is streets, this one is crazy, this one is ruthless, this one is fearless. But if he, on the other hand, is smart, he is scared, he doesn't know how to fight, he's not about that life. So it was difficult for him to understand when Oboz kept telling him that this is how they should go about things. That's why if he was doing peacemaker, let's just agree and give this guy 30%. But like, okay, even if you agree, let's give this guy 30%, he can come tomorrow and say he wants 50% from you if he doesn't want 30% again. Because just imagine, the dilemma if he found himself in after he betrayed his friend. This guy say he doesn't, this man tells him he doesn't want 30%. Like, you can't really trust people at the end of the day. So just that's just by the way, Sha. It would spark up a lot of conversations because on one end you're trying to justify who is in the right and who is in the wrong. Is if he right for you know trying to provide and protect his family? Is he right for protecting his family by betraying his friend? And on the other end, is it right that Oboz, is it that Oboz got what he deserved, or is it that after Oboz had brought Ife out of poverty, Ife now does this to him? So it just sparks up a lot of questions, a lot of conversation, and at the end of the day, who is the monkey in this case that needed to be killed? Was it Efe or was it Oboz? Do you understand? It's just a very interesting movie generally. Sha. Like from my rambling, you can tell I thoroughly enjoyed watching it. Such high production quality with effective cinematography. You will definitely enjoy watching. Gripping tale of survival. Also very interesting to see how things played out. That Efe and Sparkle's relationship, because I was like, oh okay, maybe this guy really likes her. This is maybe he has pushed his wife aside for this new girl and all of that. But to see how this man wanted to run this girl streets. And I'm like, it's con woman. She really dealt with him and she showed him you can't mess with me and get away with it. So it was really nice to see how that happened. Of course, the language, the Benin pidgin speaking was so real. Like, I don't know if Oboz is a Benin guy, but he did justice to that language. Like, him and his wife, actually him and Idia, they gave off this Benin people energy. Like, they spoke like them. The lingo, the slangs, the pidgin, everything was just so on point. Standout performances, of course, would be Oboz, played by Bucci Franklin, and also Efe, played by William Benson. So if you enjoyed the movie, let me hear your thoughts down in the comment section. Let me hear whose character pissed you off the most. Who do you think betrayed who between Oboz and Efe's friendship brother? Because that scene, that bar scene where they came to shoot, and Oboz was trying to protect Efe and all of that. I'm like, because it was like, despite the back and forth and the fight that they had, Oboz was still going to, rock with Efe, and he was ready to do anything Efe wanted, because he knew how much. I think he realized, how much Efe meant to him and how their brotherhood and friendship meant to him. He was just an erratic person, and he needed Efe in his life, but it was too late for him. Like when he finally came to his senses, and finally thought to do the right thing, when he finally thought, okay, let's do things your way, it was already too late. Do you understand? Like, if he was on a timer, so he needed to make a decision to, is he going to choose Oboz against his family? So he needed to do what he needed to do at that moment to survive. But yes, it's just so beautiful, and just, of course, people will betray you. Was Jesus not betrayed by Judas? So check out the movie if you haven't seen it. But what would you have done if you were in if his shoes. Let me hear your thoughts in the comment section. Whose performance stood out for you the most? Kemi Adetiba deserves all her flowers and more. If you're new to my channel, do hit the subscribe button. Like if you enjoyed this video. Check out my other videos. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. And go check out To Kill a Monkey on Netflix. Trust me, you will definitely enjoy watching it. Bye.